Hey everyone, John with LeadCapture here. This video is one of my favorite types of videos to shoot because this is going to be a summary of our latest new features and enhancements within the LeadCapture platform. So what I'll be sharing here are updates that we've made end of March into April. It's currently Saturday, April 18th, just around 7 a.m. And I have so much to share. Here's just a short list of all the changes that we made. We have a lot of exciting updates to come. So this video is going to probably get kind of long, but there's a lot of really great stuff that I think you'll like in here and some pretty cool enhancements. I'm also I have to go to a t-ball game shortly, and I'm currently sitting here surrounded by a bunch of toys. So hopefully I can knock all of this out before my kids wake up and before I have to get everybody over to the t-ball field. So let's just dive into this here. The updates for April, just as a quick high-level summary, it's everything from a new subpages feature, one of the features I'm most excited about, to session recordings, to new ways of thinking about compliance. And then, like I said, there's some really cool features coming on the back end of April that I'll be sharing end of the month. But let's start with one of the most requested features. It is, we get a lot of requested features, so I feel like I say that a lot. But it is light mode. Now, I personally love dark mode, but sometimes it's nice to be able to switch to light mode. Some people do not like dark mode, so we were trying to factor that in. So now the entire funnel can easily be switched into light mode. Just click on the little sun to turn it into light mode, or the moon to turn it back into dark mode. There's actually, I've come to learn, I did a little bit of research here. I thought dark mode was just something cool, but there's reasons for why you would use dark mode versus light mode, and it has to do with lighting, all sorts of things like that. So there are the two different types of modes that you can switch between. Next, this is small, but this kind of sets up, well, no, it's actually huge, but it sets up a few of the additional features that I want to show you. We rebuilt our Copilot Builder. So now if you go in to build a lead funnel, it's going to look a little bit different. We really powered it up, and we actually kind of had to rebuild it based on our subpages feature that I'll show you in a moment. But it can do way more now, and the UI is completely different. It's more of a conversation. I also want to show you here, if you go into templates, you can get to it this way. So we launched a bunch of templates that was not supposed to be part of this update, but I just remembered that. So now you can come in and choose a starter template, but you can also just have AI build out funnels for you. And one of the things that I like about this update here with the AI Copilot is, like I said, it's more of a conversation. Before today, when you went to build a funnel, you would basically write a prompt, dropped a long prompt, and then you would essentially have to one-shot the funnel from, and that could be the landing page and quiz from one prompt. And that was working great, but there were situations where some people would try to get really creative with their prompt and then it would get rejected, it would fail. It was allowing for too much creativity. And at the same time, we saw areas to optimize the Copilot to do more, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So first, when you go through, you can choose, do you have a website or not? So let's say if you choose that you want it to scrape your website, you can type in a website. I'll just go with Rocket Quote, and let's actually do this in light mode. So there's Rocket Quote. It went and pulled in a bunch of context around Rocket Quote, and this is something we're going to continue to improve upon. But it pulled context in, like the logos. It learned a little bit. Here, we'll just go with, I want to use that logo. I could have uploaded my own. What industry are you in? The AI Copilot has industry context. So if you choose, I think they're in insurance, but let's just choose mortgage because there's something I want to show here. If you choose mortgage, it then will know that, and then some of the questions will adapt based on the industry. And then what type of funnel are you looking to create? Some people come into LeadCapture and they only want a form or quiz that they can go in and embed somewhere else. That's actually pretty common. But some people come in and they want a full-blown lead funnel that's a landing page and a form combined, or even a landing page, a form, and a bunch of additional subpages. Subpages is one of my favorite new features. and I'll be discussing that in a moment. So let's just choose full funnel because this has the new subpages component to it. This is a huge update here. One of the biggest problems with V1 of our Copilot was adding fields. It would just decide what fields to add. Well, here we're giving you control. It gives some recommendations of standard fields. These are fields that you would typically want in a mortgage lead funnel, but it also gives some suggested fields. So let's go with loan type, credit score, home value. One that's missing, which that I feel like I should have picked up on, is address. So we can add that in. Let's say mortgage balance. Add that in. You don't have to get it right from the start, but now who are you trying to reach? Let's just say homeowners looking for a refi. I spelled homeowners wrong. Don't worry about that. It won't impact anything. What tone do you want for your copy? So Copilot's going to be writing a lot of copy. Let's go with urgent. I like that you can now adjust the tone. What are you going to give them in exchange for the lead? This is like one of the biggest things that everybody misses when it comes to, or not, it's one of the biggest things that most people miss when it comes to creating a high converting lead funnel, lead quiz. And we made sure to bake this into the Copilot funnel creation experience because if this is missed, it impacts conversion rates. And I'm sure there's ways we can optimize this experience more, where I'm just going to say something to keep it short, like a quote, probably not ideal for this type of funnel. But then what I think we'll do is have the AI come back and analyze that against our known data and be able to say, well, you wanted to say free quote, but here's what else could be better to say. I'm excited for that. And then additional pages. This taps into our funnel subpages feature. This is massive. This is something that starts to put LeadCapture into like a whole different, I don't know the word. I want to say category, but that's not it. It just changes a lot of what you can do with LeadCapture. So to give you a sense of what's possible here, with additional pages, these are called funnel subpages. You can create a custom DQ page, a cross monetization page. If you're selling leads, this will help you increase the lifetime value of the leads you're selling, where you can sell a single lead multiple times, click through style page, really personalized thank you page to help increase post submission contact rates. So let's just go with that, cross monetization. I'll just stop there. Or you can just skip this. Continue. Now it's going to start with your brand color. So remember when I went through and added in the Rocket Quote site? Well, it's pulling in different colors. And I think it could have done a better job suggesting this because Rocket Quote definitely doesn't use blue, but it did pull in some colors from their brand palette. We'll go with red. Now this is where Copilot starts to get smarter and it adapts a little bit to the industry that was selected. Do you need TCPA compliance? If you choose yes, it's going to add just standard template text right now. Like we can't actually write that for you legally, but we can at least put it in the right spot for you and give you a template to get started with. You could choose no or skip. I'll choose yes just so it gets in the right spot. Next, AI Copilot can turn on some of the verification features. We'll just choose yes for that. Yes, we want to get valid contacts. So this is automatically going to go on and turn on our email and phone verification feature. If you want OTP, you have to actually turn that on yourself. And then since this is mortgage, and since we're building a refi funnel, it could make sense to use our property enrichment feature. This would only work in the US right now, but we'll go with yes. Continue. And now it's giving a quick summary. I can go through and update it if I want. I'll click generate funnel. So this is going to begin generating. You'll see it's analyzing requirements, building the landing page, building the lead funnel. It usually takes about 1 to 3 minutes. There's a lot to build here. It's also going to build multiple sub pages for us. So that is the new AI Copilot experience. I'll let that build and I'm going to keep going here. One thing I also want to note is if we just go to LeadCapture, if you're not currently using LeadCapture, you can have the AI Copilot build your funnel for you without even being signed up. And then it will create the entire funnel. You can see it before you sign up. And you have about 7 days to claim that funnel. So you can get started without signing up for an account. You can see it, you can share it with people. Then in 7 days, you can go and claim that funnel. So just keep in mind, you can come in and get started just by going to leadcapture.io and just getting started. It's the same exact Copilot feature that I just walked through. Okay, so this is still building. Let's see what comes next in our update. So I shared light mode. We have a few page builder components that we added in. I'll touch on this real quick. You can add graphics into your actual lead form and quiz. So let's go in there while that is building. So you'll see here that this is one of our pages that I had built. Here's the quiz. Now, before this update, if you wanted an image, you had to add it directly into the page itself. Well, now you can add an image into the actual lead form quiz right here. And you can also have it set up so the image is either globally applied or it changes per step. So I think this is pretty cool. There's a lot you can do with this. Let me just show you real quick. So click onto the step. Copilot is context aware here, so it can make adjustments for you, but I'll just show you how to manually update this. Click into the step. Actually, let's update the global settings first. So make sure if you want to update it globally, you go to Form, and let's go back. Okay, so Form. So there's now this default graphic section here. You can upload it. You can have it take full width. You can even turn it into a circle. Make it smaller. So if you want to put a picture of a person here, you can do that. I think this adds like kind of a new unique dimension to the forms where you can do some interesting things here, especially showing a picture of a person to make it feel more personal. So you can do that. You can play around with the design, the setup, and then as I noted, you can even adjust it at the step level. You can have it appear right here or even below the text. I won't spend too much time here. Let's see if the funnel built yet. So I'm going to go back. Here is our funnel that we just built. Now you're going to see this new section here to the right hand side called Funnel Subpages. I'll walk through this towards the end of the video because this is a whole new feature. I discussed it a little bit, but the AI, if you remember, the Copilot built out an entire funnel for us. Here's the different pages it built. So let's walk through that later, but just to show you, this is the entire page, the first page that AI Copilot built. So it pretty much got us started with everything we need. Overall, I think this is looking pretty good. It gets us 80 to 90% of the way there. Then it's just a matter of fine-tuning the questions, maybe fine-tuning some parts of the design and the copy. And for that part, you can even come in and have AI Copilot do all that work. For example, you could say, I want page to be in dark mode. I have no idea what's going to happen here. It should be able to do this. I've done this before, but I just want to show you how you can come in and quickly adjust things. I'll pause while this thinks here because there's a lot of schema it has to go through to update. And boom, just like that, it put this whole thing in dark mode. Now some parts it looks like it didn't update, but that would be easy enough to come in and fix. You can see all the updates it made. And then there it is. Ah, that actually looks pretty cool. Huh. But it didn't get this. So like there's optimizations we need to make. We'll get all that worked out. This is extremely complex for us to even be able to do this. So bear with us as we continue to tweak it and get it to work perfectly. So this is the page that the AI created. Here's the thank you page. This is, again, the funnel subpages. We'll touch on this in a moment here. Then you'll just see some new components here. This is one of the newest updates as well. So some new builder components. Let's go back into the funnel. So if you go into the page section, you can scroll through. I won't go through this too much, but there's a handful of new options, comparisons, social proof badges. These badges here, you can come in and actually update them. They're not fixed to specific numbers here. You can even link out to the review sites. I would recommend doing that just to build trust. And we'll continue to be adding in new components as we get feedback. Multi-column field layout. This is an interesting one here. So this came up a few times, especially with people who have single step layouts. One of the things that was quite restrictive, especially with the old platform, was if you wanted to have a complex single step layout where the fields aren't just one single column, it was really challenging to do. Well, now you can set up a form or a step like this where you can have email span 50%, phone span 50%, and then another form, a field below it that spans 100% of the width. I don't know if that makes sense, so let me show you. You can click here and you will see, I have to figure out where this is because it's been a while since I've used this. I don't really use this feature, but there are some people who definitely like control here. Okay, I found it. So you have to go to fields and you'll see for the email field, field width, you can choose half. That just shrunk this down to half. Then for phone, you can do the same thing. Make sure you're in fields, go to half, and then let's say you want another field. I'll just choose something random, like a random text field. If you keep it to full, it can now be like that. And then you can add in buttons. So this is pretty cool. It adds in kind of like a unique way to begin structuring the flow, or not the flow, the look of your steps instead of it all just being one column or defaulting to two column. So you have more control there. Next update here. This is a cool one. You can pre-populate fields with UTMs. So the use case here, well, first, if you go into settings, go all the way down here to, you'll see a setting here, URL pre-pop. If you enable this, there's just some additional notes here. If you see me pausing from time to time, it's a lot of the trees are starting to bloom here, so allergy season is kicking in into high gear and I'm sneezing. I do not want to sneeze into the microphone. So URL pre-pop, this allows you to pull values into a UTM on click and autofill your funnel or your form with existing fields that you already know. The primary use case here is, let's say you're running a newsletter or email campaigns of some sort, and you have UTM parameters like the person's email address and phone number and address. You can pull those in and pre-pop them, and you can essentially just have someone click next the entire time. It's really cool. I think it's not a common use case, but I could see various cases where you would want to use that. Another example might be maybe somebody hits the thank you step or the last step of your funnel, and then you're redirecting them into another funnel. You can include all those fields in the UTM and then pre-pop those fields into your other funnel form, and then just have the person click through to click next. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how people use that. Let's talk about Calendly. Calendly is an interesting one. One of the things that I never realized until I really started paying attention to this is how many people have a multi-step quiz and then they embed Calendly onto the thank you step to then have somebody book an appointment directly on a calendar. One of the biggest issues with that, though, is if people were to have Calendly embedded, and you can do that by going to thank you step, you'll see there's Calendly here. This wasn't on the list, but we do have a Calendly integration now, and we have a go high level integration. But one of the things here is if you are using Calendly on your thank you step, in the past, and this is common with most form and funnel builders, when someone hits the Calendly step, the fields don't pass through into Calendly. And then that adds friction because then people need to enter their name again, their phone number again. That's really annoying. But now, if you flip on Calendly, you simply drop in your Calendly URL and you can choose a number of display options first. There's like all these like little default settings that it comes with. Like it shows this really long wall of text. You can hide that. You can hide the cookie banner if you want to. You can hide landing page details. But my favorite update here is you can pre-fill the attendee lead data info. For example, if you're collecting the name, you can just pull that name in. I think this is a bad example because I have some random fields, but the phone number, you can pull that into Calendly, and then it will automatically fill those fields, and all the user has to do is choose the date and click continue. So we've really optimized that experience. One other note is anytime somebody completes your Calendly step, or if you're using Go High Level, we're going to make these updates for Go High Level as well. Then you will also get that conversion metric back in your step-based metric. So if you're using Calendly on your thank you step and someone completes it, it would show up as a completion here. Just so this way you can see if people are converting once they hit that Calendly step. Next update here. We discussed AI Copilot. AI assisted A/B testing. I've already announced this. There were no major changes to this, but just in case you missed it, this is probably the number one or number two requested feature we've had. AI assisted A/B testing. It says it's in beta right now, but it's not. We need to just get rid of that label. You can now have an entire A/B test running inside of LeadCapture across multiple funnels, and Copilot will help you do two things. First, you click AI assisted A/B testing. If you choose generate ideas with AI, it will analyze your entire structure, your data. In this case, this particular funnel has no data because it's new, but it will present a bunch of testing ideas for you. You'll see it says generating test hypotheses. So it's going to generate ideas and force rank those ideas by impact for you. I'm sure this area needs some fine tuning like most things, but here are all the ideas. So it gives you an endless number of ideas to A/B test. And there's no reason to not be increasing leads with LeadCapture at this point, because not only can you build these optimized funnels, but you can test until I don't even know what to say. You could just keep testing and testing and testing until you keep improving conversions, until you hit some sort of a ceiling in terms of conversions. There's so much that you can test. You can also run manual tests. You do not need to have the AI generate ideas for you. You can even come in here and generate your own ideas and track them and log them. So this is a really cool feature. The AI also will come in and analyze your test once you actually begin testing. You'll see here, click this, and Copilot will open up and analyze your test for you. Because one of the biggest questions when it comes to A/B testing or challenges is, what do I test? What should I test? What's the highest leverage thing to test? And when should I end my test? So we fixed that. A future version of this will be AI automatically adjusting for you, choosing the winning variant if you want that, of course, and then maybe AI even doing some testing for you. So that's all things we're thinking about in the future. So that's A/B testing. Now, kind of related to this and also compliance. Another one of my favorite features here that we launched and somewhat highly requested, Lead Playback. So Lead Playback is our version of screen recording or session recording. Lead Playback can allow you to replace tools like Hotjar and I forget the rest of the name, Lucky something. I don't remember the name of it. But now all within LeadCapture, you can record somebody as they're going through your funnel. All the data is masked, so this way we don't expose PII as someone's typing into a field. And you get unlimited recordings for converted leads. Depending on your plan type, we unfortunately have to gate this because this consumes a lot of data and CPU to be able to do this. But you can also capture unconverted recordings as well. So for example, you can click watch. It gives you some information and you can actually watch somebody go through. Oh, this is our contact step. So this is someone who came through and filled out our contact form yesterday. I remember actually seeing this come through when I was on the soccer field with my son and responding. So you can watch people go through, you can put it on higher speed. And there's a link that comes back with Lead Playback. So let's go to a specific example here. I need to pause so this way I don't show you any exposed data here. Okay, so let's take a look at this lead. This is fake, so don't worry about the information. You'll see in the lead details section, session recording information is captured. You can click watch recording. This takes you to a page inside the funnel, but we also capture an actual playback URL that can be passed through into your CRM, your lead distribution tool. Here it is. So there's a public URL that's captured, and here's how it looks. So if you have clients or lead buyers, you can share this with them. You can share this with your team, and it can be accessed without having to be logged in. So that's lead playback. This is extremely beneficial from a conversion rate optimization perspective because it allows you to actually see what people are doing, and then you can gain insights from this. At some point, Copilot will be able to review these with you and suggest A/B testing optimization ideas. That's just the start. Lead playback also helps with compliance. And let me get rid of some of these tabs. Lead playback also helps with compliance, and it could be huge for that. That ties into our experimental compliance feature that we launched called LeadProof. Now, this is challenging for me to explain. I'm not good at explaining things unless they're really simple. This is extremely complex, and there's a lot happening here. I'm not going to spend too much time here because this, like I said, is experimental as we rethink what compliance should look like in an AI-driven and what I believe is coming, a future blockchain-driven world. So, what we do, going back to LeadProof, is we capture the session recording for optimization, but we also capture it for compliance. If you have LeadProof turned on, we can store that session recording with the lead and seal the record, so you always have proof that somebody submitted your form. Now, what's LeadProof? Well, LeadProof is LeadCapture's what we call our built-in trust layer through cryptographic lead integrity. We also call it our lead integrity ledger. The way that I think about this is this whole question came up when I was talking to a friend who is evaluating different lead vendors and agencies. And one of the questions that came up is, how do I verify that they actually are generating the leads for me? And there's all different ways to do that, but what I realized, and it's something I've been thinking about for quite a while, is a lot of people are really bad at proving that they generated the lead. And we're already capturing all this rich data upon submission, like the IP address, user agent, session recording information if using lead playback, trusted form URL, cert, stuff like that. So one of the things I've been looking to do for a while is to be able to take all that data, put it on a ledger that's tamper-proof, and seal the record. So even if the lead is deleted, all that information is stored, and then generate a very specific link that can be shared out, and then a key to unhash the data for people who have the key. That's what LeadProof is. So LeadProof essentially gives you this way to prove that you generated the leads. This helps for compliance. And also, if you have clients and buyers, it helps there as well. You can even have your display name. So basically what happens here is if somebody comes through, let's click here. This is our contact form. You get this unique page, and it would say something like, this lead was originally generated by, in this case it says John because it's just pulling in the account name, but it could have said leadcapture.io. So you have this little proof badge. This hash ties to a hash on our ledger here. And then you can see there's all these unique values. If someone has a unique key here, they can unlock the proof data, and then the entire record that was captured at the point of capture shows up. And you can see here that it's time-stamped. This is not meant to be a replacement to trusted form or even to a new compliance feature integration that we just launched. I'll talk about that in a second, called Verify. This is meant to be its own form of compliance tracking, and we'll see where this goes here, because if you look at how trusted form works, I don't want to get too into this, but it's a little bit different. This is a first-party consent feature. Now, with that said, there's a blockchain component using zero-knowledge proofs that comes into the picture. I'm not going to go into that right now, but there's a lot to discuss and think about in the future here. And this is setting up for reimagining how compliance should work, especially with all the advancements with AI and blockchain. So that is the LeadProof side. And then the thing to highlight here, going back to lead playback, is when the session is recorded, it's being captured with the proof cert if you're using LeadProof, and then also it can be posted wherever it needs to go. Another thing here is we're starting to think about the trust badge. So I really believe that one of the keys to maximizing conversions is to build trust into the funnel. And this also not only helps with maximizing leads, like lead conversions in the funnel, but also building client trust to get more clients to convert into your funnel if you're selling leads or if you're an agency, or to get clients to hang around and retain them longer. And I think a lot of that starts with building trust. And the question is, how do you build trust? Well, you build trust by proving that you're generating really good leads for people. And that's where the proof badge comes into play. If you're using LeadProof, you can drop this into your website. And I ultimately see this as becoming a way to prove to people that you're generating authentic, real leads, things like that. So that's LeadProof. While we're on the subject of compliance, another feature that we launched here is an integration with a really cool company called Verify. They are doing quite a few things similar to Active Prospect Trusted Forum, but they have some unique value props. I'll be sharing out an announcement here, so check Verify out if you're looking for a Trusted Forum alternative. What else do we have here? All right, this is huge. Tracking and attribution roundout. So one of the biggest requests outside of A/B testing and session recording is the ability to come in and set up tracking and attribution type features with like Meta Cappy. We already have the Meta Pixel integration, but we really needed to add in some of the most common platforms like Tag Manager, uh, TikTok, and so on. So now we spent part of April rounding out those features. So we have the Meta Pixel, nothing changes there. With Cappy, there is a change. So let's just say you have your Meta Pixel turned on. I'll just put in something random so I can get Cappy to turn on. So when you add in your dataset ID, there's nothing new here. You can continue to add this in. We add it in enhanced matching. So you can pull in different fields from within your form here and pass those into Cappy to improve the match rate. And then I believe if you improve the match rate in Cappy, you should technically get better traffic. So this is now a feature here. Google Tag Manager is a new feature. You can set up your container ID, and then you can also map in different event names and do a whole bunch of stuff there. There's all sorts of documentation, and AI Copilot is trained on that. Google Ads conversion tracking. If you want to just push conversion events directly into the ads platform, you can do it either with Tag Manager or your Google Ads feature. And then we also have TikTok tracking as well. So drop your pixel ID in, and then you can do some stuff with the TikTok pixel tracking there as well. So that is the attribution, the tracking side of things. We discussed LeadProof. I think at this point, the last thing to touch on is Funnel Subpages. And I've somehow managed to keep this video to about 33 minutes, but I might hit about 45 minutes, so this might take a little bit of time to walk through. I'll try to be as efficient as possible here with your time as I walk through this. So, Funnel Subpages. If you use Funnel Subpages, you're going to begin to notice these little icons appearing here. Now, what are Funnel Subpages? Funnel Subpages allow you to create pages nested within a lead funnel. This addresses a number of different things. One of the biggest problems that we came across, I think we can call this a gap in the platform, is you can create a funnel like a landing page and form. A unified funnel is what I call it. But if you wanted a thank you page, you couldn't just create a thank you page inside the funnel. People kept saying, how do I create a thank you page? Well, I would say you have to create a thank you step, and then you can route them to a thank you page. Or you would have to come in here, clone one of your funnels and create one that says thank you, and then go in and hide the actual form. But that's kind of clunky. And then when thinking about how to add thank you pages where you have a form and then a thank you page connected all in the same unified flow, that's where the idea of funnel subpages came to life. Now, if we drill into this funnel here that we had the Copilot create, there's now this left-hand sidebar when you're in this view, and you'll see that there are multiple pages. Here's the start page right there. So this is the page that the people start at. Then there's a thank you page, There's another page, cross-funnel monetization page. These were all pages, if you remember from the beginning of the video, that we had AI build. If we click add new page, you'll see some of the different pages you can create. You can create just a general thank you page, a specific lead disqualification page, cross monetization page, click through style page where it's just a button and no form, personalized thank you page, an affiliate page. Maybe you want to monetize your leads once you generate them with some sort of affiliate links that people can click on to go and buy something. Custom page. You can clone from your main page or you can clone from another page. Now, the one thing to note is we have to put a lot more thought into what these pages actually need to look like here. When you click them, you have to use your own imagination to start to come up with how should you build these pages, because this is all kind of, I think, like a new idea, and we need to figure out what actually works best here. But the concept and the foundation, the framework is here, and I'm pretty excited about what this means and what people can do with it. But to add a funnel subpage, well, before we dive into that, I also want to show, you'll see this ribbon here inside of the builder. Here's your different your subpages, and all you need to do is, as you're working, like if you think about your workflow, you're coming in, you're updating things. Maybe you want to update your thank you page. Click on the thank you page, and then here's the thank you page. You'll see there's no form included, and just some copy that the AI generated. You can come in and update that. Maybe you want to update your cross funnel monetization page to give you an idea. It leads with, before you go, one more thing. Then maybe you have a funnel. Maybe at some point we integrate Stripe and you can actually like charge people and make money like right inside the funnel. I don't know. There's so much we could do with this. And then if you click here on this little thing, you can even add pages here. So you'll see how they all connect. You can move them around to change the redirection flow, and that's a whole different thing to talk about. We're going to have documentation on this, but to touch on that, if you have your funnel subpages set up like this, and you go to your thank you step, let's just click into thank you here. And if you go to fields, there's the redirection feature. If you flip this on, you can always have it, or there's a new option here to redirect to a subpage. So now it's always by default going to redirect to the next page in the funnel. So in this case, it could be this thank you page, or you can override it. But where things also get pretty cool is you can come in to conditional logic. You can set up a rule, and then you can say, if somebody responds this way, don't even send them to another step in the same quiz. Send them to a different funnel subpage. This is powerful because this is when you can get into routing disqualified leads into a whole different funnel to treat them in a really unique, different way. This could allow you to monetize those leads. This could allow you to do different things with those leads. Maybe it's not even about disqualification. Maybe it's more top of funnel, and you want to create a funnel structure where it's like top, middle, bottom, or top, bottom. You want to like warm them up or something like that. There's a lot of potential ideas, or you can just route them into a whole different funnel inside the system. While we were at it, we were thinking, well, if you can route people into a sub page in the same funnel, why not give the ability to go cross funnel and route them into the first step of a different funnel? So you can do that as well. This opens up a lot of possibilities. And as I said in the beginning of the video, I haven't even wrapped my mind around what's possible and where we can take this. And I think there's a lot of training and education we have to do around this because it's a little bit new, but this allows you to do more things within LeadCapture, and I'm excited to see how everyone uses it. Now, before I end this, just to show you here, if you go to create a new funnel page, let's just click add page. Let's create from the main page. You can name it whatever you want. Click clone, and then it just created that page. Maybe we want this in a different position, but I'll just choose there, and you'll get some data too. You can see views, leads, conversion rate. And what's cool about this as well is that each page, each subpage, gets its own data, so you can come in and analyze it. All the leads will show up just for that page. So you can essentially have, and all settings on lead delivery info could be set up just for that page. So you could essentially have somebody go from one part of your funnel into a different subpage and route leads into a different place, whether that's a CRM or lead distribution tool, and see all those leads for just that funnel. And then if you begin to A/B test it, to bring this full circle to our A/B testing feature, when you create an A/B test, this is where it gets really crazy. You can have the entire test. You can test entire funnels, not just the initial landing page and form, but you can test an entire funnel sequence of all the subpages. There's a lot you could do here in terms of testing. So that wraps up April, well, I guess March through the rest of this month's update. There's some really exciting things we're working on for the rest of the month, and then either at the end of the month or beginning of May, I'll have another update. If you have any questions, especially around how the funnel subpages feature works, or even any suggestions around how to best use that or make it better, please feel free to reach out. Thank you and have a great rest of your day. Thanks.